Okay, I want to welcome everybody to today's episode of Selfmade, where we help you make money making easy and dominate your niche. I'm your host, Haas Pratt. Now, if you're looking to grow your business and you're looking for unique ways to do it, this is the show for you. Today, I have an amazing interview lined up with the co-founder of Kajabi, Mr. Travis Rosser, and also future best-selling author of the book, You Inc. with us today. So, Travis, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate a chance to come on here and talk about all this stuff. So thanks. And you just revealed to me, you literally are one of the Kajabi mega heroes, which congratulations on that one.
Yeah, man. I got Kajabi the first day it came out.
Wow.
It changed my life. So it's good to be here with you today.
So you lived through all the evolutions of the app, because we changed the app multiple times. Even to now, the app now is not the same at all.
Sure. No, totally. And it's how technologies continue to evolve. You guys have been there. Right with it on the cusp, right at the front line. So it's great for you to be here. I can't wait to hear your story.
It's cool because I talk about that in the book. I talk about that launch that you were on, so you'll get to see it from my perspective and how stressful it was and how I thought I was having a heart attack.
Sure.
But it was just anxiety.
Right. Well, not everybody knows what Kajabi is, so we'll get to it today. We'll know more about it. But tell us who you are. Take us give us the overview of your journey of how you became who you are today.
Yeah, so I am from a small town here in California. People don't realize, but California has farms. And it's actually the richest farm valley in the world is the San Joaquin Valley. It's basically from Bakersfield to Sacramento. There is hundreds and hundreds of miles of farms, and I grew up in a town called Kingsburg. And I worked on my dad's farm. I worked on other people's farms, and then I came down here for college. But the farming part of my life really stuck in my head. Just the concept of seasons and planting seeds and things growing and hard work. But something else happened to me as a kid too, is I stuttered. So from age 9 into 18, I could not talk at all. And so that definitely changed the way I thought. It made me a very internal person. I think about things a lot, maybe too much. I also back then prayed to God all the time, hoping that he would change my stuttering problem, which then caused me to be a big-time dreamer. I mean, I still dream about big, crazy, crazy stuff. But that's how I was. I grew up in that world. I thought my parents were broke, but they had plenty of money. They were totally middle class, but that scared me for my entire childhood that they didn't have enough money. So back then I was on a quest to figure out, where did money come from? Like, how do you make money? And, during that time, I would see farmers in our town that were millionaires. They would make tons of money. And so it just made me think, it's like, I need to find a thing that someone else wants and then I can sell it, because trading my time for money sucks. Because back then minimum wage was like $3.75. Right. When I was like 14, it sucked. And so eventually the idea for Kajabi came up, and as you've had success, but Kajabi customers before I sold had made over $600 million. So you're talking just average people sharing their knowledge, and it's made over $500 million.
Now, let's take a step back, because for people who don't know what Kajabi is, I'd like for you to share what it is, but also what led you to create Kajabi?
Okay.
Where did that come from?
Well, that desire to figure out money stayed with me to this day. And so after going to college, flunking out of college, going back to college, finally finishing college, and getting a job, I was like, wait, this is life? I'm going to sit in this cubicle now and make, $70,000 and then maybe get promoted, and then I'll get the corner office and have to work a lot more for just a little bit more pay. I was like, this sucks. And so I continued that quest to figure out where money came from. And I started seeing stuff online, like a lot of us that are watching this probably saw. Mm-hmm. But there was a guy named Corey Ruddle, if you've ever heard of this guy, and he had the Internet Marketing Center, and it was one of the biggest things back in the early 2000s.
Right.
Well, Corey died in 2004, I think. And up until then, I thought it was a scam. I would get these emails about this guy making money from sending emails and posting ads, and I thought it was a scam. But then when he passed, there was an article in our paper, the Orange County Register, with all the details of his life. And I was like, this was a real person. And so I signed up for the next event here in Newport. And Derek Gale, his partner, continued on with that company. And he told the story of Corey. And I saw my first knowledge entrepreneurs. I met Jermaine Griggs, who's still a friend to this day. He's in the book.
Yeah, Jermaine, he's the music guy.
He's the music guy. His grandma wins a piano on The Price is Right, teaches them how to play the piano.
Yeah.
And now he's a freaking millionaire teaching other people how to play the piano. Like, I saw him when he was still 19 years old. I saw a guy that taught you how to play Madden football that was making $70,000 a month. And I was like, wait, that's my entire salary. He makes it every single month. I was like, what is this?
Sure.
And so then that seed was planted in 2004. And over the years, I just continued to try things online, selling things on ClickBank and selling things on eBay and building websites and flipping them and selling them. And eventually, by watching the Russell Brunsons and the Frank Kerns of the world, you know, Kenny and I had this idea to do this kids car wash. It's called Crazy Spray. And it was this idea that you could build this car wash out of PVC pipes with sprinklers on it, and your kids could drive their bikes to the middle of it. And so back then we were going to sell them. We were going to ship them and sell them. And I was like, this is too much work. And so we're both like, there's got to be a better way. So we're like, we'll teach people how to do it. So we shot videos, went shopping Home Depot, made a PDF of everything you need. And then we tried to put it on ClickBank. And back then in 2009, you had to have WordPress and plugins and more plugins. And then like a certificate SSL and like authorized.net to get paid. And I was like, this sucks.
Yes.
And I was in the programming industry since 1998. So I've been doing programming forever and designing. And we thought, gosh, if we can't figure this out, then nobody can figure this out. And that was when the idea for Kajabi was that seed was planted. And about a year later, we met people like Andy Jenkins and Frank Kern and Brendan Burchard, and we got them to test the first version of Kajabi.
I remember, man, I was right there. I was creating my product Listing Boss, and
nice.
And I had all of this content, and I was like, where do I house it? How do I distribute it? And that's when I discovered Kajabi. And so it gave me a place to house my content, to house my training, to house the coaching, as a portal that people could get logins and passwords for my customers that are listening. I mean, they know Kajabi because they've been using it for years. So that's right. I remember though, Travis, what you're talking about. The skills that I had to develop early on, like SSL certificates, Amazon S3, and all of these things that were so technical at the time. We were forced to learn those things in order for us to execute. And
that's right.
Getting a landing page designed was like pulling teeth. So
in a way, that was your key to success, because that would prove you were hustling enough to do it. Yeah. Now it's so easy. Someone gets Kajabi, they don't do anything for 6 months.
That's right. We're going to talk about that today.
The idea behind writing a book about this too is I want everybody out there to understand they can turn what they know into a business, because just like you saw, I can put these files and then I can sell them and then I can get a password. Like, it's pretty empowering when you put a thing of digital information up and then you make $1,000 while you were sleeping. Like, that's right. That's crazy powerful.
You know, one of the things too is, I mean, for me, I was in real estate for years and real estate coaching. I was an agent, and there's even like the service with the professional industry and sales, whether you're in mortgage or you're in real estate, but like being able to create a portal of content to give access to customers to take them through. I mean, it positions you as the expert. It's a great tool. And I feel like that's underutilized. Nobody's using a Kajabi portal to be able to house the onboarding of a customer or the customer experience, enhance the customer experience. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. It's still a thing that people don't understand.
Sure.
I'm here at WeWork, which is a great place to have an office, and they have workshops all the time. And so they had an Amazon workshop the other day. And the guy's explaining what you need to do is when you sell your product, just make sure you have a little card inside, so they'll fill it out and they'll go download the guide for how to do it. And I was like, wait, people aren't doing this yet? People aren't selling something and then giving a back end? Like, we had a Kajabi customer that she was a lactation expert. So she would teach new moms how to breastfeed. And so she is so smart. She went and created a Kajabi site. Then she went out to like one of the big baby bottle brands, and inside the box would be a thing that would say, hey, take Cheryl's course. And it would connect over to Kajabi. So we're still in the infancy stages of digital knowledge coming from everybody, not just a college, not just an author, but everyone.
how do you see the person in sales or even the entrepreneur? Why, and we'll get more into it in the book, but where's the need come from to become a knowledge entrepreneur and package their expertise? Like, where do you, like, why is that a need, and why do we need to deliver that to the marketplace?
Well, because we only have so many hours in the day. And, you know, a lot of these businesses that you create, no matter what it is, even if you're a full-on entrepreneur,
right,
you still got to build a widget. You still got to ship a widget. You still have to have brick and mortar and employees. But when it comes to digital knowledge, your scalability is infinite. And if you think about the world is now a global, you know, village, the knowledge that we have in some of these industries here in another country, they're like, oh my God, they're so far ahead of us. So that's the thing. You may be like, I'm not an expert, but you might actually be an expert to people that haven't figured that out yet.
Sure. And so at Kajabi, as the co-founder and being there from the very beginning, you've personally known, probably friends with, worked with, consulted with thousands of self-made millionaires that became self-made millionaires. I'm one of them because I became a self-made millionaire again whenever I launched. Awesome. You got into that space.
Dude, I feel like I need to say cheers. That is just such an awesome thing. Like,
cheers to the Red Solo Cup.
There you go, to my coffee mug.
But my question is because I've seen a lot of people come and go, people that maybe have tried to put themselves out there, didn't make it. What separates the ones that make it and make it big compared to the ones that didn't make it?
Well, making it at all is the drive that it requires. And that's why I was saying you were successful back then, because you had to be so committed to get that landing page to work, to do this, that it weeded out all the people that weren't committed. So that's step one. The other one is having a message that you believe in. And if you can have a message that you believe in and you're authentic, there's no telling how far you can go. There's a lot of people in this space that were like flashes in the pan, you know, that
right.
They hit one time, they make $1 million here. And because they're so fake, like I always say, if you fake it till you make it, then when you make it, you're fake. And who wants
I say you got to fake it till you make it, but you got to make it.
Yeah.
You can't fake it for long, right? You got to make it eventually.
I'm always like, believe it until you achieve it, because I want to be the guy that learned all the steps versus the guy that is like just a phony. Like, I just can't handle phony people. So I think the internet is starting to catch up with that. Like, we're realizing that most of social media, most of Instagram is bullshit.
Yeah.
And so the authenticity that comes from a real person that believes in the thing and has actually struggled with that same thing, or they're an expert in surfing or whatever it is, they're like, well, I want to follow that person. I want to buy their stuff. And you become a lifelong fan.
That's right.
I mean, all of us that have our favorite authors, whether my wife's favorite is Ellen or Oprah, it's because they're consistently producing great stuff. And it's long-term.
Right. So commitment. So the ones that were committed.
Definitely.
What stopped the people? Was it just they weren't committed? I mean, they just threw in the towel, or they didn't know what was all involved?
It's fear. Self-doubt. Self-doubt's the first. In fact, I called the book You Inc. because the whole point was this book is not about me. It's about the two yous in your life.
Yeah.
The first you is the person you see in the mirror. You need to focus on that person, love that person, and realize that you have a lot of gifts. There's a lot of things that happen to you, and when you recognize, what if they happened to me on purpose, then you realize you're going to have purpose. And when you can take that purpose and share that with other people, that's the number one secret to all of this. Just believing that you can do this, believing that what you know has value.
Passion.
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 That's what you did. I can see you have confidence. You're like, heck yeah, this worked.
Hey man, I'm straight passion, Travis. The reason that I made it was I'm passionate for what I do, passionate for who I'm becoming, and I'm committed to doing whatever it takes to do that. And I think that's for anybody that puts themselves out there, especially in today's world, and positions himself as the expert. I mean, there's a lot of head games going on, right? Totally. Putting themselves out there.
Yes.
So finding somebody that, let's say if they're in sales, I mean, they could start become a knowledge entrepreneur, something totally outside of their field, but something that they're passionate about, whether it be gardening, surfing, water sports, whatever the case is. So find something you're passionate, and that would be my advice for everybody listening: is I've been on this journey, and you've got to be passionate.
Yep.
And you got to be good. And in the process of that, you're going to get good as long as you don't give up.
That's right. And if you're authentic, you're going to be good eventually, because that's going to show the real you. And you're totally right. If you don't believe in what you're doing, you're going to get burnt out right away. Because back when we built Kajabi, I just always knew it was going to work. Even when it was a struggle, I knew it was going to work.
Right.
As I was finishing this book, I was like, holy crap, this is a big deal. And when you believe in something that much, then you're going to work on it all the time. Like, you're going to work on it and not get paid. You're going to work on it in the middle of the night when you're thinking, and you got to find something like that. And we throw around the word passion a lot, but what we don't understand is sometimes, like here, let me quickly give you the 4 P's that I always talk about. The first one is profession. And those are going to be obvious ways we could share with people is our job, what we've done. The second, the P that I like to talk about is passion. Now, this is the thing you love that you'll do for free, like surfing or golf or whatever. But what we don't realize is these other 2 P's can become passion also, and that's problems and pain. If you've overcome a problem, like getting out of debt or divorce, or pain, like having an injury, like there's ladies that teach like vocal cord coaching. Their stories are incredible because they had bloody vocal cords and then they started over, and helping that person with that journey became their passion. And that's really anything that you're like, oh man, I wish someone would do something about that. Or everybody always asks me to help them with this and I love doing it. That's where your passion is. Right. You got to start heading that direction.
No, absolutely. Because because the task requires the passion.
That's right.
If you're not passionate, you're not going to do what it takes.
And passions can come from the goofiest places, man.
Yeah.
The oddest things can get you really excited.
And don't you think, too, part of the challenge of somebody saying, okay, I'm passionate about mountain biking? Because I went through this as I consider myself an artist. I'm a writer, creator, visionary. But it's organizing the thoughts, right? So I'm passionate about mountain biking, but what's within mountain biking? What are the topics? What are the steps? What is the process? And I'm always having to think and dig deep to think what's next. How do you see people going through that process? Do you feel like that process of taking their thoughts, that you believe they have to organize their thoughts, whether you're writing a book, product, course, anything you're putting together? Like, do you feel like that process stops people?
Well, I think we take for granted what we know because we're good at it. Whatever it is, we're good at this thing. Like there's a guy who teaches Microsoft Excel, and he took the concept of teaching you how to use Excel and turning it into a 6-figure business. And it wasn't how to use Excel. It was how to use these specific formulas for a specific task within his industry.
Yeah.
Like when
there's a need for that.
Yeah. When it gets down to that focus,
yeah,
you'll find the thing. Like for example, there's a lady who teaches pet photography. Now she doesn't teach you how to take pictures of pets. She teaches you how to become a pet photographer, like as a business. And when you can take your idea and niche it down to a thing, it starts having value. Yeah. So let's say it's hockey, for example. My kids play ice hockey. Maybe within hockey as a dad, I could find a niche that I could start talking about. And I could start sharing with other dads. Like I could talk about equipment and private coaching and like all the things. Like that's what I'm talking about is take a thing that you find yourself spending a lot of time on and you like to talk about a lot and see if there's value there. Because
make money from it.
That's right.
Yeah. And especially hockey, because I know it costs you a lot of money being a hockey parent.
Costs a lot of money.
And you'll buy too. I mean, you'll buy the course on how to master the game of hockey, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
You'd hire the coach.
Boy, I hire the coaches all the time. And if I knew he'd sit and watch the courses, I would hire the course.
Spends too much time on airplanes, right? Going to the different games.
Yes, that's right. Traveling all over the place.
Yeah. So where does somebody start? So take us through that process. You wrote the book on it.
Yes.
Which I love the name, by the way, You Inc. Great job, man. Awesome name.
Thank you. I know. It wasn't going to be called that at first. It was going to be called Turn What You Know Into Dough, which is kind of cheesy.
I like You Inc. the better, man.
You Inc. is way better because it's about the concept that I thought about a long time ago. I was at a conference and the guy gave the Jay-Z quote where he said, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman."
Right.
And it's about that you are the business. When you start focusing on the fact that you're the business, you're the asset, what you've been through is valuable. What happens to you is valuable. Like maybe things happen to you on purpose. Maybe they happen for a reason. And when you start treating stuff that way, that divorce, that bankruptcy, that injury, that death, maybe your passion lies in that. I mean, it's very possible. It's easy for me to walk around WeWork and help them with their profession. But here's a secret about profession. Just like I said with Excel, it's not about just generically going on there and teaching architecture. It's about going on there. Like there's the guy, his name's Remy. He's in the book and he's a painter. So he does home painting. And instead of teaching how to become a home painter, he's an expert at picking out colors. And so he teaches other paint contractors how to do that. And now they can charge more money. And that's what it's about, is finding the little system, the little formula that you've always done. It's just part of who you are.
Yeah.
And start writing that stuff down until you're like, wow, this is an idea. Like I do this every single time. And then pretty soon that knowledge becomes the thing. Yeah. And you start talking about it on Facebook, on your Instagram. You start creating awareness about the fact that you're the guy that knows this Excel thing. Then pretty soon you become like you have an audience, then you have authority, then people are paying you money for that information.
Yeah. Where does somebody start though? I mean, I mean, I could hear our listeners going, that's great, but I have an idea. I don't even know where to start.
Okay.
What's your advice to that person?
Start talking about it right away. Get on Facebook, start talking about it. Every day, Facebook Live about it. Now, you're not selling. This is the key. You're not like, I've got this debt course. No, you're going to start talking about debt.
Sure.
You're going to tell your real, raw, honest stories about leaving the price tag on the bottom of mugs and so you can take them back, or having to work 4 jobs. Like my own wife worked in real estate and then was an Uber driver on the weekends when she was single to pay off her debt. And that's step 1, is go be yourself out there in the world. Like share what you know and start talking about your topic. Start seeing the responses you get back from someone. I call it in the book taking laps. And laps is all about this. Eventually you're going to be ready for a landing page. And a landing page is, you give me your email, I'm going to give you something really valuable for free.
Right.
So if I have a landing page, then I can go on Facebook, I can talk about whatever it is, debt, and then boom, you can go back to my site and get that free thing. So that's the L. The A is you got to start creating this audience. Just start talking. Even if it's only 10 people, it doesn't matter. Just start talking. Then the last P of the first lap is create a product, create a digital product. Let's say it's $100. I used to do this thing at Kajabi, call it the $100 hustle. Like how quickly could you make $100?
Yeah.
If you had a $9 course, you only had to sell it 10 times. If you had a $99 course, you only had to sell it 1 time. And if you already know this group of people, your friends are already golfers and you know how to get out of a sand trap if you're left-handed in a thunderstorm or whatever it is, start talking about it and be like, hey guys, I'm going to send you this 10-step of how to do it. Then I'm going to take my iPhone and I'm going to shoot a couple of videos and put it on some system, whether it's Kajabi, whether it's something else. It doesn't matter. And just start testing that stuff. And pretty soon you'll notice, like, wow, I made $1,000. Wait, I made $10,000. Like, it's scalable. Like, it's crazy scalable.
You know what the thing that's different today than when I started, even when you started Kajabi, is I didn't have Facebook, social media.
Right.
I didn't have any of this stuff, man. Travis, I've done 1,000 seminars in 48 states. Meaning I was a road warrior. Why? Because the audience, that's how I had to get in front of the audience.
That's
Today,
right.
you can find anybody, anywhere. I mean, and it's amazing. So if anybody that's putting themselves out there with authenticity, with an authentic message, and they're putting it in front of the right people, it's much easier now than what it ever used to be.
So much easier. It's so much easier. And be realistic about where your audience is. Don't use every single social media. That's not smart. If your audience is a certain age bracket or you know they're in a certain place, then maybe it's Facebook. Right. Maybe it's LinkedIn. Maybe it's Instagram. It's not necessarily all of them because you're going to get overwhelmed. Just start with one of those. Pick one of those networks and be on there all the time. Answer every comment, every question, every message to you. Just do it for the rest of the year. We got 3 months. We just started the last quarter. Do that for 90 days and see what happens. Opportunities will fall out of the sky.
No, totally. And I'll take it a step further. what I would do, my advice to that person would be, you got to start the content. You got to start the organizing the thoughts.
Yes.
And I like to put myself in places that I have to rise to the occasion. So how I would do it, if I had nothing on the table, nothing to work from, I would say, after I got off this podcast, I would launch a Facebook Live. I'd say, I'm going live this Friday, this time. I'm going to talk about this. See you then. And
exactly.
Even though you don't have anything and you don't know what the hell you're going to say or talk about,
yep,
the magic happens whenever you're under pressure. No pressure, no diamonds. The message will come to you. And then commit to the next week, and then the next week. And now you're in it. Now you have something that's forcing the content out of you and the message out of you.
Such a great way to look at it. I've never thought of it that specifically, but pressure really does bring it out of you. That's interesting.
You know what, Travis? I used to struggle with this as a expert, guru, whatever you want to call me, right? But I used to struggle with not knowing what I was going to speak about at a seminar that's the next day. So, and I would be struggling the day before, and I would be stressed and worried. And then I'd show up the next day, and I would do whatever I had to do. Then I would present it, and it would be really good. And I'd be like, see, man, that wasn't that bad. I'd watch myself and be like, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And I learned that that's how I create.
Yes.
Is that my best comes when I'm under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And to create the thing, I'm going to just set the date, put myself out there, and have to show up. Now you have to go do the work.
What's even better is, let's say you do that and you have enough of an audience. So you're like, all right, here's this course, and you're going to sell the course and let people know it's available on this date, and you don't even have it done yet. And as soon as that first dollar comes, Frank Kern does this all the time. Frank would sell millions of dollars and have not shot one video yet because he was so good at shooting that he can do it in a couple days.
Sure.
But that's my point, is when you set deadlines, give yourself deadlines, because that's the thing. Nobody's going to push you. You will not have a boss if you do this. You will not have, if anything, you're going to have a lot of haters. People are going to want to stop you. They're going to say, well, you're not an expert. But you have to believe. You have to believe that you have it in you to do this. And that's why putting yourself out there is really going to help you. And here's what else I would say is perfection. Don't focus on perfection at all. Just go.
Right. And I'm guilty of that. When I launched Listing Boss, it's a 12 module course, and I had 4 modules done. Mm-hmm. I did a webinar, sold it. I sold a lot, but I sold it as a live training. And I said, so over the next 12 weeks, I'm going to give you everything you need every week. I'm going to help you grow your business. And so what I would do is I would then sell it. Now I got to go create it. And so they were right behind me every week. They would get up and I would have to go do the next week because I had to launch the next week because I told them I would. There's a lot of lessons in that. I mean, I still do that to this day. Frank does it because there's something to it, because you're right. Nobody's sitting around every day saying, hey, go do this, create this.
No.
So you got to put yourself in the place.
But if you start talking, like I'll bet you evolved that course because as you got to know your students, your audience, you're like, oh, wait, they want to know this and this. So that's why talking is people will start motivating you. Yeah. They'll be like, wow, that was really good. Oh, I've never thought of it that way. Or what you said was incredible. And then eventually, if you put yourself out there enough, like Keith, the landscaping guy in the book, who if you search like landscaping business on YouTube, he's the #1 guy. He's been doing this for years, just holds his phone up in his truck or while he's buying equipment and talking. And he's gotten messages over the years of people that have watched his content and literally stopped them from committing suicide. Right. Because they watched his content and they're like, oh man, look at this guy. This guy did that. I bet you I can go do that tomorrow. This Saturday, I'm going to start that business. And like, that's why you share. Yeah. Because you're connecting with other people that may need to hear what you have to share.
And that exactly. And I think that's the other part of it. In today's world, people want to see you in the trenches. So it's not just a video of direct to camera.
Yeah.
Where you're saying a specific thing. But just like what you said, just like the landscape guy, get your camera, set it up. Let's say you're negotiating a contract. Just say, hey, I want you to show you how to negotiate a contract to get the property sold for top dollar. And then you hit record, and then you do your thing.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in it, people love videos like that. So if you want to create a following, do more of showing videos of you doing what you do.
Dude, I'm getting ideas for me. That is very good because there's things we just take for granted. Like I said before, like, I'm working on all this new content right now that's about the book. I need to start shooting more
Writing
video.
the book.
Yeah, exactly. I need to start shooting more videos. Like here is like how I'm doing this course that goes with the book, and like the stuff that I consider boring, probably people will just love.
Right.
Because they don't know how to do that. That's the other thing too, is like Google and YouTube is our teacher now. It is the place we go to figure things out.
Sure.
I mean, speaking of hockey, like when my kids first got in and I didn't know how to tie their skates right because I didn't play growing up. So I learned how to tie hockey skates from some guy on YouTube that I still follow to this day.
Yeah. I want to take it a step further. So in the organizing your thoughts, creating content, getting your message out there, there's also an end. I'll give you an example. So when I told you I created Listing Boss, well, I have a book that I recently published. It's a #1 international bestseller now. So it's
very nice.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a great ride. But here's what I did. Over the years, I've created a lot of content, training, and so to do the book, I simply transcribed a lot of the training that I already did.
Yes.
And that becomes a book. So whatever it is, that the videos you're doing, the Facebook live show, everything needs to be repurposed to where it becomes written form into a book, into blog posts, into emails, into more value, because that's how you get a lot of content done fast.
That's right. There's no more excuses anymore. Like I wrote a book and I flunked out of college. It's because of that right there. I transcribed hours of what I wanted this book to be. So that's why just start this conversation. Start talking about this topic, and you're going to be blown away by what it turns into. Because just like you're saying, I mean, we both have books from just sharing our knowledge over the years.
That's right. Right. Well, let me ask you this: what is your advice to somebody well, first tell us how to get the book. Where can our listeners go get the book You Inc? Well,
you can go to youinkbook.com right now. You can get like a sample chapter and this cool worksheet that goes with it. But on September 18th, depending on when this all goes live, it'll be on Amazon from then on. So just search for it on Amazon or search for youinkbook.com, and there'll be other things because I'm doing workshops and all kind of things with the book. So
that's awesome.
Definitely hit that up and start this journey on turning what you know into a business.
How exciting, man. You've worked with so many self-made millionaires that took their expertise, position it, package it, and into profits. And what a great work that you do, man. It's how fulfilling.
Oh yeah, that's why the book came to life, because I would have these moments where I'd interview customers and we're both getting goosebumps. Like,
right,
whoa, this is pretty crazy what happened to you. And then I'm thinking, wait, it's because I did this and you did that. And I just want to share it with more people because it brings fulfillment to your life.
Right.
And a lot of people need that right now. So
no, that's right. And people need help, right? And you're going to relate to a certain type of person. So put yourself out there. So wrapping up, what is your advice to those out there besides go get your book, You Inc? What's a piece of advice for somebody to get started on today?
I would say, you know what you should do first is dream about who you want to be. Like, I've always wanted to write a book. And so here I am. I finally wrote a book. Like, as you're listening to this, what are the things you're feeling inside? Because I know you're feeling what I like to call the voice. Call it God. Call it whatever you want. Things have been kind of hitting as both you and I have been talking. So what are those things? Start writing them down. Like you were saying, I have notepads with me all the time. Like, I have a notepad all the time with me because some ideas have to be like a seed inside your brain for years. I mean, so everything you thought about during this podcast, write it down. And then start thinking, what actions could I take to make those happen? And some of it may be, like I said, go talk about it on Facebook.
Right. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time today and sharing that.
Definitely. It's been fun.
You know what's cool, Travis, is some people listening, this episode is going to change their life.
That's right.
Not everybody's going to go do anything with what we just talked about, but the ones that do are in for a wild ride, an amazing ride that is so worth everything that you're going to go through.
Yep.
Right.
Without a doubt, it will make your life better and it'll make someone else's life better. And then it's just a big, huge domino of good things happening.
Awesome. And I'm going to leave our audience with these final thoughts. Like Mr. Zig Ziglar said, you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. So go out there today, take massive action. Thank you, Travis, for joining us. And that concludes this episode of Self-Made. Take care.